They came from the sky, not with fire and noise, but quietly, silently. Fragments of ancient rock, drifting through the void for millions of years, finally pulled down by Earth's gravity. They burned through the atmosphere, scattered across deserts and ice fields, and were picked up by human hands. Meteorites, cold, alien stones, visitors from beyond our world. And inside them, something unexpected, something familiar. Amino acids, the building blocks of life. Not made in a lab, not grown in a cell, but forged in the deep cold between stars. And that changes everything. To most, meteorites are just space rocks, chunks of asteroid or comet debris that occasionally crash to Earth. But to scientists, they are time capsules. Ancient, unaltered material from the birth of the solar system, older than Earth itself. Some meteorites, like the famous Murchison meteorite that fell in Australia in 1969, contain a special class of material, carbonaceous chondrites. These rocks are rich in carbon, water-bearing minerals, and complex organic molecules. And when researchers examined Murchison under laboratory conditions, they found something astonishing. Over 90 different amino acids, many of them identical to those used by life on Earth, and some completely unknown to biology. They weren't contamination. They weren't manufactured. They were native to the rock. Proof that prebiotic chemistry, the kind that leads to life, can happen off the Earth. Why does this matter? Because amino acids aren't just chemicals. They're letters in the alphabet of biology. On Earth, amino acids link together to form proteins, the engines of life. Proteins build cells, carry oxygen, digest food, copy DNA. Every living organism depends on them. And while life on Earth uses 20 standard amino acids, there are potentially hundreds of variations that could exist, especially in environments very different from our own. The fact that meteorites contain amino acids, and not just random ones, but some used by life, suggests something profound. Life's ingredients are not unique to Earth. They may be common in space. The rules of biochemistry might not be ours alone. For decades, scientists have debated a haunting question. Did life begin on Earth, or was it seeded from space? This idea, called panspermia, suggests that the early Earth may have been bombarded by meteorites carrying the raw materials for life. Not full organisms, but simple organic molecules, amino acids, sugars, nucleobases, delivered in countless impacts over hundreds of millions of years. We now know that this is not only plausible, it's likely. Experiments have shown that amino acids can form in interstellar space, on icy grains exposed to radiation. They can survive the heat of atmospheric entry. They can remain stable for millions, even billions of years. And meteorites like Murchison and Tagish Lake are the smoking gun. Physical evidence that prebiotic chemistry is universal. We don't yet know if life began in space, but we do know this. The seeds of biology do not require Earth. One question always looms. Could these amino acids be contamination? Did they somehow come from Earth after the meteorite landed? Scientists take this challenge seriously. Meteorites are often collected quickly under sterile conditions. They're stored in nitrogen environments. Samples are compared to terrestrial standards. Even the chirality, the handedness of molecules, is analyzed. On Earth, life uses mostly left-handed amino acids. But in meteorites, researchers often find a mixture of both left and right-handed forms, a hallmark of non-biological synthesis. This asymmetry, or lack of it, tells us something critical. These molecules weren't made by life. They were made by chemistry. And that's perhaps the most important part. Because if nature can make amino acids without life, then the line between lifeless matter and living systems becomes thinner than we thought. If amino acids can form in the cold of space, if they can hitch rides on comets and asteroids, if they can rain down onto young planets, then the question changes. It's no longer, is life rare in the universe? It becomes, how could life not arise, given the ingredients are everywhere? Every young planet and every young system might receive the same cosmic delivery, complex organics, baked by starlight and forged in ice. Mars, Europa, Enceladus, Titan, even the distant oceans beneath Pluto's surface, may have been showered by amino acids from above. And if the chemistry is right, the transition from molecule to microbe could be inevitable. Not a miracle, not an accident, but a natural consequence of chemistry and time. New techniques are helping scientists go deeper. In 2020, researchers detected amino acids on asteroid Ryugu, collected by Japan's Hayabusa 2 mission. This was the first time amino acids were found directly on an asteroid, in pristine samples returned from space, untouched by Earth's environment. NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission returned material from asteroid Bennu in 2023, and early analyses are already revealing a rich tapestry of organics. The tools are getting sharper, the questions more precise. We are not just finding amino acids. We are learning how they formed, where they formed, and what they mean. Each new rock is a puzzle piece, a message in a bottle from a time before life. Here's a wild idea. What if life didn't just start once? What if, billions of years ago, Earth was hit by thousands of meteorites, each carrying their own cocktail of organics? Could multiple forms of primitive life have briefly emerged, some never surviving, others outcompete by the version we now know? Is Earth's biochemistry just one winner among many possibilities? And if that's true, if the emergence of life is easy, but its survival is hard, then the galaxy could be full of failed starts, of ancient biospheres that never made it past microbes. Or it could be full of thriving ecosystems, different from our own, shaped by the same amino acids but arranged in alien architectures. Knowing that amino acids can exist without life is a double-edged sword. It means we can no longer use them alone as proof of alien biology. We need more context, patterns, metabolism, repetition, but it also gives us hope. If we find similar molecules on Mars, in ice cores, ancient lake beds, or beneath the surface, we won't assume contamination. We'll know that nature made them, that they belong. And if we ever detect amino acids in the atmospheres of exoplanets, through future telescopes like LUVOIR or the Origin Space Telescope, it won't be dismissed as noise. It will be a clue, a whisper, a sign that the chemistry of life is not rare. It is woven into the very fabric of the cosmos. In the end, these tiny molecules, these simple chains of atoms, tell a grand story. They tell us that we are not chemically unique, that our biology is written in the same ink as the stars. They tell us that the line between the organic and the living may not be so sharp, that it may be a gradient, a slow unfurling of complexity written into the laws of nature itself. And maybe most importantly, they remind us that we are part of the universe, not apart from it. When we study a meteorite, we are studying our own history, not just as Earthlings, but as children of a wider galaxy. Because life, this thing we treasure, this thing we fear losing, may be far more cosmic than we ever imagined.